Hello and welcome to the first in this new webinar series from EE, coming to you from Wembley Stadium. We're really pleased you can join us for this discussion all about mobile security. Now, we all know that smartphones and tablets aren't just a big part of our personal lives these days. They are, of course, increasingly part of how we get work done. In fact, their use for work is going up as the use and sales of PCs is going down to such an extent that analyst group Gartner has said that by 2017, the focus of endpoint security breaches will have shifted to these newer devices. And that's just one challenge. There is, of course, the technology challenge of lost devices, of malware, data breaches, and mixing personal and work data. But there are also issues around compliance and how to use personal devices for work, or indeed, corporate devices for personal reasons. Do you, for example, know your BYOD from your CYOD? And how much of this is a people and processes challenge rather than about the technology itself? Fortunately, to help us answer some of these questions, I'm lucky to have with me four experts in their field. They are Phil Lander, who is B2B Director for Samsung UK and Ireland. We've got Raj Malpati, Vice President of Marketing at MobileIron. And from EE, we have Chetan Char, who is Head of Government and Public Sector, and he was formerly Head of Major Accounts at EE as well, and John Cusack, Area Business Manager. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. We'll get into the meat of the conversation around security, mobile security in a second. What I'd like to do first is let's talk about the big picture. Paint the picture for us. What are the big trends, the key trends in mobile? Phil.
Well, at Samsung, I think one of the key trends we're seeing, one of the most exciting trends, is the consumerization of the enterprise. So it used to be the case that enterprise was so far advanced of consumer software and services and applications. But now, with technology in the home being so much more advanced and users and tech-savvy users now entering the workplace, we're seeing an increasing demand and increasing requirement from those users to actually get more from their enterprise. And they're looking to take things into their own hands if they need to deliver the solutions that will allow them to do their job and work effectively. So that creates a lot of exciting opportunity for enterprises.
A lot of opportunity and some challenges, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. Raj.
So in addition to the consumerization of IT, what we're also seeing is lots and lots of end users in enterprise that are actually using more than one mobile applications in their day-to-day life, right? So about 80 to 90% of the knowledge workers in enterprises are actually using multiple mobile applications to get their work done, right? So effectively what we're seeing is an increasing or accelerated adoption of mobility solutions, applications, devices, in the enterprise itself. So that's again, a huge trend that we're seeing in enterprises.
Chetan, help us paint this picture.
Well, and I guess I'll use myself as an example. The manner in which mobile devices and the use of this technology is how we're consuming it on a daily basis. There were times that you would go to a laptop or you'd refer to different devices. Today, most people, I take myself as an example, I'm on my mobile phone, whether it's at home, whether it's at work, whether I'm traveling. And I think if people took a moment and said to themselves, how much do I use my device? The exponential usage of the device is incredible. And how much more productivity we're gaining and how much more enjoyment we're getting, because there's information that's available to us, which otherwise we would have delayed to get later on.
John, trends.
Particularly in the SME market, we're seeing a much greater dissemination of mobile phones. If we look at the rollout within a typical organisation, historically, mobile devices, tablets, etc., may have been restricted to directors, senior management, or maybe just mobile workers. Whereas now it's pretty common that most employees, regardless of your position or your job title within the business, will embrace mobile technology. So, that in itself brings up a whole load of security challenges and questions.
Indeed, it does. So let's talk about that security challenge, and we'll talk about the people and the processes shortly. But Chetan, let's talk about the technology first. Help me unpack this. What layers are we talking about here?
Yeah, and I think the technology element, if we broadly talk about three key elements, there's the network, there's the hardware, and then there's the software, the applications and the MDM application.
Very good. So let's take the hardware first. Samsung seems an obvious place. So Phil Lander, tell me about the hardware. Tell me about the security challenges and how you address those security challenges on the device?
So the device has become a critical part of a tool in the pocket of the workforce, and they're doing more and more with it. They move beyond talk and text to email, and now beyond that into applications and services and collaboration. So security is right at the heart of that particular activity. It's an enabling activity. So we've taken that very seriously at Samsung and have sort of addressed this in two key ways. Firstly, introducing Samsung Knox, a security platform which is designed to make Samsung Android the most secure platform available to customers, and we've achieved that. And then secondly, building upon that security which is embedded in the device from the hardware through the software, creating this end-to-end solution, we've worked with the ecosystem partners such as MobileIron to enable their mobile device management solutions to allow the corporate to control, manage, deploy in a very simple way to allow them to meet the needs of that particular enterprise.
Raj, so Phil mentioned MobileIron, also mentioned our first acronym of the day, MDM, Mobile Device Management. For those people watching who don't know necessarily what that means, help us out.
Sure. So, when you look at mobile device management, MDM, as Phil mentioned, it's actually a component of a broader mobility management solution. It's enterprise mobility management, right? So there are fundamentally three key elements to this solution that MobileIron delivers, right? So number one is, or the first key element is making sure that you can design or define what those security policies are, what those management policies are, right? So that's the first key element of the overall solution. The second key element is how do you enforce these policies on the mobile devices, right? So this is, again, something that we do through the mobile at work application that is deployed on the different devices itself. And the third key element is, think of it as access control. It's fundamentally inline gateway in terms of how it actually helps manage and actually secure these policies itself, right? So it's all about making sure that we have we can manage these policies when data is flowing back and forth. So those are the three key elements. So it is defining the policies, second is enforcing the policies, and the third one is access control of the data and in making sure that the right devices are in the right mode or the right sort of context when people deploy.
Raj, thank you very much. I want to come back to mobile device management in a moment, but Phil, you mentioned Samsung Knox. Just give us a quick definition of what that is.
So Samsung Knox is our security layer product that actually designed to create a very, very secure platform, and it's built on a trusted zone. When you talk to government agencies, and it's a product that's certified by CSG in the UK, Department of Defence in the US, etc.
CSG.
This is the government agency that actually provides the security standards for communication across government. So you have to meet their standards to be able to deploy your technology in that sector. And Knox has been approved for that, but it's built on a trusted zone, which essentially means that your data and your device is protected at all times. When you're booting up the device or when you're using that device, it's protected against malware and attacks on that device, giving you that real confidence and security at the device level that you're protected. So as an enterprise customer, that's a key piece of peace of mind for you, that you know that the data that's at rest on the device or in transit to the device is being protected, and then you bring into the rest of the ecosystem as well to create that fully complete secure package.
Thank you. John, we've spoken a lot about the enterprise customer, and there'll be a lot of people out there who fit that bill, but equally there'll be people from small and medium-sized enterprises who will think of mobile device management, and my suspicion, I think we know from some figures from Samsung and Forrester that approximately half of enterprises have already adopted MDM in their workplaces. Whether that's a big number or a small number, I guess, is open to interpretation. Sure. But what we probably know is it's a bigger number than in the small and medium-sized enteprises.
Yeah, what we're generally finding in SME is that there aren't security policies in place. They don't maybe even have a definition around a mobile policy. So we're absolutely bringing this to the table, and we're trying to encourage and help people sort of define these and look at how they should protect themselves. We're also approaching it from a more positive background because MDM that Raj speaks of, MDM is not just about protecting yourself. It's not just about security. It's not just about stopping things getting in.
What does it allow you to do in that case?
Absolutely. So MDM will allow for deployment. It will allow you to control devices remotely. It will allow you to wipe devices remotely. It will allow you to track where your asset is in particular. So there are lots of positive elements that MDM will bring to us, or bring to all businesses, but particularly to SMEs who've not been exposed to it before.
But these small and medium-sized enterprises, I mean, one of the other acronyms or one of the other terms when we're talking about mobile device management uses the word enterprise. Is this stuff for small businesses and medium-sized businesses?
It's for any business. It's absolutely for any business, because absolutely it's about protecting yourself from the security risk. But it's about bringing efficiencies to your business. It's about looking at policies that you already have within your business around technology, IT, mobiles, if you like, if those policies actually exist in the first place, but allowing you to work through those more efficiently as such. And whether you're an enterprise or whether you're a small business or whether you're a 5-employee business, then those challenges are exactly the same. So absolutely, it's here to help everybody.
Okay, enough talking about technology for the moment. Earlier on, John, we asked you to show us the technology in action. So let's take a look at it now.
So John, please tell us about the Super Secure product.
Okay, so this is the super secure product provided by EE. It incorporates 4G. It incorporates mobile device manager, in this instance provided by MobileIron, and as an option, if so desired, with the devices Samsung Knox. The great thing about this is that we provide this as standard. With all of our 4G packages. So anybody taking out a 4G package from EE has access to what I'm about to show you, which it gives, as well as security, which obviously is important, it gives administrators and it gives businesses control over the ledger and over their devices.
So how about a quick example? What for example, would someone do if someone in their organisation misplaced a smartphone?
Okay, so if we simply log in, standard username and password, you will then see you are presented with a dashboard. That dashboard is a breakdown of your estate, of your ledger of devices by handset type, etc. But if we were to find a particular user, so straight across the top here, we can see we have a users tab. If we click, it will then give you a breakdown of all of the mobile users within your base, within your organisation.
Okay.
Clearly, there's quite a lot of detail provided here, but we've blanked some of it out for data protection reasons. But if I were to find myself, so I click on myself here, I'm just towards the bottom here, John Cusack. That then presents me with a screen that highlights the devices that I personally have registered to the Super Secure platform, because clearly mobile users sometimes have multiple devices. They may have a phone,
Sure.
They may have a tablet, etc. If I were then to click on my device, it will give me a couple of options, but one of those options is to actually lock the device. So once I click on lock,
okay.
very interestingly, what it provides me with is more options than just locking the device. So for instance, if I wanted to enter a contact phone number that might be my own telephone number, and I wanted to enter a message such as lost device, because this we're not necessarily presuming this has been stolen, it's just been misplaced. Lost device, if found, contact this number for a reward.
Brilliant.
And instantly that will lock the device, but also present the message that I've asked to be displayed on screen. So not only are you protecting yourself as a business from data falling into the wrong hands, you're also giving the option, if somebody has found that device, the option actually to return it rather than it being disposed of.
Okay, wonderful stuff.
So that was the Super Secure product in action. A couple more questions, Shatan, and just one more question for you and for you, Phil, on the technology side of things. You listed the elements. Network was a key part of that. Tell me how and why.
So obviously we've got the hardware, we've got the software. The network, I guess the best way to describe the network, it's the glue that pulls the whole thing together. If the glue's weak, then the hardware and the software can be great, but if the network doesn't give you the ability to transition information back and forth in a secure, robust manner, then you're not going to get a great experience, and therefore the security naturally is going to be compromised as well.
and we're talking about security being compromised. Apps, is that a weak point as well?
Well, I think it's an opportunity. I mean, I talked earlier about the tech-savvy individuals coming into the workplace. We call them amplified individuals at Samsung based on our research. And we did some research across Europe that looked at what are the services that they're using and taking into their own control. And the top 3 applications used were Dropbox, WhatsApp, and Gmail, traditionally non-enterprise applications. So this highlights how this kind of risk can be brought into the business, but also highlights that the needs of users are changing and therefore enterprises need to adapt to that. And using the power of an MDM solution and Samsung Knox, actually the opportunity for the enterprise is to control, manage, deploy in a far more effective way those kind of applications that enable the data of the company to be protected, but the productivity of the workforce to be improved as well, giving them the tools that they expect to do their job.
Okay, so Raj, we have 2 things going on potentially in conflict. One is the needs of the user and one is the security of the organisation. It's all about user behaviour. This is different from the old days of desktop-bound users. How do we address that challenge?
Yeah, just to add to what Phil said, one of the key things that we do with the Enterprise Mobility Management Solution, or MDM solution, is we make sure that we can protect the business assets, the business applications, so securing those business applications while maintaining the end user privacy, right? So we want to make sure that the end user, if they have some private texting or SMSs that they're sending, we want to make sure that's not necessarily managed. They could actually not make sure that their personal or the private applications are again not managed effectively. What this overall solution does is, the MobileIron solution does, is secures and manages those enterprise applications while maintaining the end user privacy itself, right? So, and again, that's very critical because unlike the PCs, almost all our mobile devices are used for personal purposes as well as for enterprise purposes.
So, Chetan, is the answer here to find a way, as I think Raj was saying, to segment those 2 parts of your life? Is that the answer here?
It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think some organisations do see it quite distinctly. That's personal and that's business. Increasingly, the world is becoming more and more blended. We hear stories about people networking, whether it's through Facebook, any other of social media, about working aspects. They might ask questions from other colleagues, from other companies, as to how they would go about solving this particular problem. So I think each enterprise, each organisation will come at it from their own personal points of view, depending on their own policies.
Just another figure, another statistic to throw at you, 75%, 3/4 of security professionals allow personal devices to connect to corporate networks. In a sense, that kind of backs up what you're saying.
Yeah, in today's world, and it doesn't matter whether you're private sector or public sector, budgets are being slashed. People need to be able to be more productive than they ever have been before. We want to reduce the number of times people are travelling back and forth to the offices. There's more flexibility that people require. It's a challenging global environment. The technology, the mobile technology, enables that. It's not simply having a hard set of rules won't necessarily, could be restrictive in this case. So it's having the tools that gives that flexibility for organisations to choose for their organisations what's the best approach for themselves.
And what role policy? You said sometimes hard sets of rules is not the way to go. What is the role of policy, especially for a larger organisation?
I think it's important that organisations have some sort of view as to how they want to treat mobility. So there's some consistency. And you can have policies based on role types. Now, we know that there are many organisations where we've got true field workers, where people are out, the sales guys, in government it might be the people visiting people's homes. Those people are very mobile. If they're the most extreme of mobile, that would be one of them. They're out on the road and they need access to information. They need to be able to be productive when they're out and around. And then you've got other groups of people actually who are still mobile but tend to go from office to office. So there's a different set of user requirements there. And then you're going to have potentially a senior exec team who are also office-based but then tend to work from home perhaps or tend to fly to another country. So again, their requirements will be different as well. Each organisation will need to segment their groups of users and give that ability to those users to give the flexibility and the ability to be productive whilst maintaining that level of security that's so important.
Very, very good. And I'm thinking of the larger organisations, John, which will have maybe an HR department or a legal department that can help with these policies. Again, I'm guessing with the small and the medium-sized enterprises, that doesn't happen. So how do they then address this issue?
I would agree with what a lot of Chet says is very similar really as what we're now seeing as an expansion in SME, is that you're quite right. We don't necessarily come across departments, IT departments that manage and look after the fleet. And they're not necessarily looking to enforce strict policies in place as far as what you can and can't do with the mobiles. However, by having a package in place that does give you access, that does give you control, that does give you visibility of what end users are doing when there is a requirement, when there is a need, that's what we're seeing. So rather than putting a strict process in place, I know that we're required that I can actually get access to these devices. I can actually take some action if need be.
Very good. We're going to need to wrap this up in a moment. Time is against us. But before we go, what I'm very keen, again from each of you, a piece of advice. So Phil, a piece of advice, and I'm not necessarily thinking about the people that work in the IT department, but perhaps that's one part of it, but people who are not techie, who are running departments, for example. What is the piece of advice you would leave them with?
So I think it's that these changes are here now. Whether you realise it or not, your workforce, your people are actually undertaking tasks in their own way to get their job done. So the important thing to do is embrace that. Work with trusted partners, actually deliver to your people a set of tools through products such as Samsung Knox, MobileIron and EE's network that enable you to control, manage and give freedom to those end users. Our data suggests that customers that actually embrace and deploy this will see 60% of those that have done it have seen revenue growth, 61% have seen customer satisfaction improve. So the benefits are there, so embrace it, but work with the right and trusted partners.
Phil, thank you very much. Same question,
Yeah,
Raj.
I just wanted to add to that is the key thing I want to add is it's not about compromising security or end user choice. It's about providing a secure solution, right, for mobile devices, for data as it moves anywhere, while enhancing end user productivity, end user choice, right? And that's just fundamentally what the solution provides. And again, that's something that's very critical in this Asian world, which is securing the devices, securing the data, while enhancing end user productivity and control. That's again something that all the IT folks need to keep in mind when they're deploying their solutions.
Chetan, thank you.
So I agree with what my colleagues have said here. I think one of the most important things here, mobility is no longer, if you think about where it started from, mobility started as a few devices bought for senior execs so they could communicate, and it was voice only at that time. Today, mobility is an integral part of the digital strategy of an organization. It therefore needs to be a very senior board level discussion. It needs to be on the agenda. It's an enabler. It's not something that should be feared. And the security, etc., the ability to secure gives you that comfort. I think the organizations that really utilize mobility are the ones that are going to be the most productive, the most innovative, the most excited, and they'll probably attract more talent to their organizations as well.
John.
I love the word embrace, John, and really that's for me because absolutely security is important and absolutely all the elements of enterprise that we talk of today, but there are so many positive things that a super secure, a mobile device management platform can bring your organization, efficiencies, productivity, etc., etc. So absolutely embrace it. Adopt it and look at what it can do for your business, not just what it's protecting your business from.
John, some good advice to finish off with. John, thank you very much. Chetan, Raj, Phil, thank you all very much for being here. Now, we'd love to keep this conversation going beyond today to find out more about working with EE, with Samsung, with MobileIron, and perhaps to dig a little deeper into the issues we've been discussing today. Please get in touch using the contact details you should be seeing on the screen now. Until next time, thanks for watching.